everybody, and welcome to the FFL Solidity podcast, episode 20. We have a very special guest, Miss Callie Somerville, with us today. So super excited to be on with you today, Callie. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing amazing. Thanks for asking. And I'm really excited to be on with you today, just because getting to kind of know you over the past couple of years, really just kind of seeing the challenges that you face kind of going into business as a woman in the insurance industry and kind of sticking out through different practice companies, so to say, has been really impressive. And also just your backstory, just generally speaking. So, Callie, just to kind of hit it off, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of what got you into the insurance industry in general.
Okay. So I'm Kylie Somerville, 46 years old. Let me take this out of my mouth. Sorry, crew, everybody. I'm 46 years old. I've been in insurance for 10 years. When I started, my son was probably, well, he'll be 22 this year. He was 11, or I mean, a little bit older, but he was young when I started, right? And so I started with the company that I started with only sold term insurance. And so I was there for 6.5 years, made it to their top level, vice president level, and I was broke. Because one of the things, what I realize now, Marissa, is one of the things that company sold is they sold the struggle, right? So the people that were, on stage, the people that spoke, the people at the meetings talked about, I got here and then I lost everything. And then this is where I am now, right? Which is not really a success story, especially when you're in the insurance business, right? So when I was going through, and I lost everything, really just trying to follow the dream that they sold me, right? Lost everything, got evicted, 2 cars repossessed, like literally lost everything that I owned. And then the worst part is that in 2019, because they only sold term insurance, my father passed away. He did not have any insurance because they would not cover him because he had serious health issues, right? And so what I didn't know at the time was that term insurance only covers people that really don't have any health issues, that are really relatively healthy, right? And so because those insurance companies, term insurance doesn't want to take on the risk of insuring people with these big face amounts for this little bit of money, right? But they sold it as term. I mean, term was the only kind of insurance, the best kind of insurance, which is good depending on the person, and whole life was bad. So why would I sell my father something that was bad for him, or find him a product that was bad for him, right? Which what I did, again, I didn't know now that he could have easily, Marissa, probably had a $10,000 whole life policy that would have been about $40 or $50 a month. And a $10,000 in coverage would have been a lot more than me and my sisters had because we had nothing. And so, but it took me coming to FFL to really figure that out. And I came to FFL in a place at a time where I was just broken, right? I actually joined, my father passed away May 14th, 2019. I started FFL June 28th, 2019. Right. And so, and a friend of mine from high school actually told me about this great company called Family First Life. And he had me on the phone with Frank Euphemia back in October 2018. And I was like, no, because it's these numbers are too big. They're too good to be true. They're lying to me. So I turned down the opportunity the first time. And then I went back to him again. This is 8 months later. I went back to him and said, tell me about that company again that you work for. And he told me the numbers. And for some reason, I believed it this time. And I figured I'd just try it and see what happened.
And Callie, what do you think changed that made you say, like, hey, I believed it this time?
Because I was in such a bad financial place that it couldn't get any worse. You know what I'm
Got it.
saying? And what he said was true, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that I did do, Marissa, that when I was deciding about FFL, because it was either, and I don't think I probably told too many people this story. I had gotten a job, or I had got offered a job for selling blinds, right? Because that's where I was. I was like, I was want to get a job, so sell blinds or get an insurance again and hopefully this works out. And then the night when I was trying to decide what to do, I prayed. Like I prayed, I was like, God, point me in the direction that I need to go in. And the following morning, I woke up and I was peaceful about coming to work with FFL.
Hey, that says it all, right? Like when you go to bed with that prayer and you wake up peaceful,
Yeah.
You made your decision. And going through all those different adversities coming into this industry, Kali, and you were a young mom, right? Like, it wasn't just about you, it was about you and your son as well,
Yeah.
and your family, right? Would you say is one of the biggest adversities that, like, if you could share with anybody else that's in business in any arena, but maybe it's kind of like in that same place of like, I don't really know what to do, or this isn't really working the way it's supposed to. Is there any piece of advice that you would give them that maybe helped you, whether it's mindset or talking to people or not talking to people, that might help them out? How did you fight that fight, Kali?
I honestly, I don't know. Like it was times when I really literally thought to myself, like, maybe it would be better if I wasn't here. Like that's how bad off I was. Cause I at that point, so we're talking about, and this is not that long ago. Like this is 4 years ago, right? 4 years ago, I literally was like, I didn't see how to get out of the hole I was financially. And I didn't know if there was, I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But I kept pushing, right? Regardless of that, like my father, and at the time I was living with my father. And he's like, why don't you go and get a job? Right. And this is before FFL because he passed away, right? I said right before I joined FFL, why don't you go get a job? And I was like, I can't. I remember just crying, like, I can't get a job. Like, and it was nothing, it's something in me just wouldn't allow me to get a job. And even though it was in my, because from my father's point of view, when I had a job, wasn't in this situation. So he's like, what the hell are you doing? Right. And so I guess the best piece of advice would be, you have to, if you want something and this is where you want, this is where you're supposed to go, like you have to ignore the people around you, whether they, and the people that care about you don't want to see you hurting. You know what I'm saying? And I realized my father didn't want to continue to see me hurting, and being, just being in such a bad place because of money. Right. So, but what if I would have listened to him and went and got a job, right? And I probably wouldn't be here today, because I was like pretty much done with insurance. When, what I'm saying, when he was, I don't know. I mean, everything, and I think too, everything happens the way it's supposed to, right? I was just talking to, huh?
And Kali, I want to just kind of interject too. Like, I love how you said, like, what if I went and got a job, right? And here's what I want to say too. It's like, we don't realize sometimes when we wake up, it's like, what if you did just go and get a job, right? Like, how many other people's lives would not be impacted today because they're working alongside you with a supportive person who's went through so many different adversities. And then I ask you, like, Kali, what got you through them? And what I'm hearing you say is like, I wasn't willing to stop fighting, right?
No.
Like you weren't. You were like, this is my fight to fight. I'm going to fight it and I'm going to win, right? And you're continuing to win. You continue to make a huge impact on people. And like, that's huge, because you very well could have curled up, played the victim card, right? And decided, hey, well, you know what? Like, I should just go get a job, right? Like, this thing can't work.
Start crying.
And like, you didn't, and you're making changes on people's lives every single day. Like, Kali, I see your agents, they love you, they care so much about you, and that's just huge. I think that alone, you sitting here just like explaining your story and just saying, like, I fought the fight because I wasn't willing to not fight the fight, right? The cost of not fighting it was going to be way bigger than the price of fighting it, right? So, Kali, after going through all of that, the loss of your father, and I'm so sorry for that, and like you mentioned, like the repossessions, and I love how you're open about these things, because like these are so many things. They happen to people every day. Right. That look so perfect on social media, right? Everyone looks perfect, right?
And that's what my sister said, because my sister lives in North Carolina. She was like, she's like, I didn't know you were going through any of that stuff, because she's like, social media. I was like, can't believe everything you see on social media.
Right. You can't believe that. That's a fact. You can't believe everything. But it's true, right? You went through all these different things and you still got back up. And it's like, you
Yeah.
weren't just getting back up for you were getting back up for yourself. You're getting back up for your son, for your family, for your team, for me, right? You were getting back up for everybody. And I just want you to know you made a huge impact and just a huge splash. And when I think about adversities and somebody who's a tough, strong, independent woman, Kali, I think of you. I truly do. I think of you, and I just think about the stuff that you went through and how you don't play the victim card, right? Because that's an easy card to play, right? We hear it every day. Like, my dog died. Like, I love dogs. It's like, all right, like, let's put your dog to rest and, like, let's move on.
Let's keep moving, right?
Yeah, exactly. So kind of talk to us a little bit about that, Kali, because you kept it moving, right? So now you got into FFL late 2019, right? Or
yeah,
early
2019 in the summer. Yep, June 2019.
Okay. Beautiful. So, and then coming in and just kind of seeing it, right? Because you were like, I remember me looking at it at my practice company. I was like, these are Nintendo numbers, right?
Yeah.
Like, these numbers,
there's no way.
Right? Exactly. There's no way. I literally can remember be like, these numbers is absolutely no way. They're Nintendo numbers. Like, they're making these up. Now we're out, now I'm here. I'm like, we're definitely not making them up. That's for sure. But talk to us a little bit about that, like seeing that, opening your eyes up, and kind of how it looks like for you and your team today.
I think, and it was a gradual process, right? I didn't come in and kill it, right? Because I still didn't, even though I was in, I still didn't fully believe it. And I don't know what it was that made me say, okay, like, I guess a few checks, and I was like, but it took me about 6 months to actually really get plugged in and really get started and really say, okay, this is the real deal, right? And once I did that, like, I made January 2020. This is right before the pandemic, like, really hit. Like, I made more money than I had ever made in my life in a month, right? And then February 2020, I made even more, right? And so, like, I went from 4 figures, and then February was 5, right, in a month's time, right? And once I saw that, like, there was no turning back, right? Because I was like, this is real, this is legit. And then also from one of the things that I did learn from the practice company is we learned about recruiting, right? And so then the power of having a team and, saying what that does, and it really provides the stability that you need to be in sales, right? Because things are going to happen. Like, you're going to want to go on vacation. You're going to get sick. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be times when you just can't work. And when you have a team, your team helps with those times, right? Because when they go out and make a sale, you make money. So, and then I guess fast forward to where we are today, we're doing about 300, helping about 350 families a month. And as a team, and we're poised to explode, right? Our team, we've been really focused in the last couple months on building, or the last, I would say 6 to 8 months, building the camaraderie on the team, teamwork, and getting everybody to really understand the value of playing team. And because of that, we're starting to get a lot of momentum going, because everybody wants to see other people win.
Absolutely. And, you said a lot of huge things there. And a couple things I just want to highlight is, first, we both go from saying, these are like Nintendo numbers, to coming in, seeing it, experiencing it. And then, like you said, in January of 2020, you made the most money that you had made. February, again, you repeated that process. And though, like, as like globally, we're not in a good place, thankfully, we had our feet in the right business, right? We had our feet in the insurance industry. So, while other folks were, losing their jobs or getting downsized, or just had to simply stay home, which to me sounds awful, because like I would drive myself bananas. It's like we had the opportunity to go out there and make the biggest impact that we ever could on people, right?
Yeah,
and that was my first year hitting Hall of Fame, Carly, and I think it was just the passion behind, like, hey, we got to help these people. Right? Like, everyone's on the phone and scared to see people and, use social distancing, but we were out there, boots on the ground. We were ready to go. Right.
And it was great because there was no traffic.
Amen. It was. It was like, I was like, wow, like we do this every day, not literally, but exactly. It's a traffic piece. Exactly. But, it says a lot about how you were able to kind of stand up. And then not only that, like you said, the team side of it. Right. We talked about in the beginning, like, what if you just got that job and you were like, you know what, sales isn't for me, right? the whole team would be in a different spot, right? And then that team camaraderie, it's like you build your family, right? And if you realize that it doesn't feel like your family at times, like that's okay. And it's learning processes through the business, right? But at
Yeah.
the same time, like you said, that camaraderie goes a long way, because when
Yeah.
the team's pulling for the team, it's bigger than them, right?
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
Callie, like you said, like sometimes I don't want to wake up in the morning, but you get up for your team, right?
Right. Because
Like
you know
not for
people are
you.
watching you.
Yep, exactly. You get up and you go do ABC because you know your team's watching you and you know you have to lead by example. So that's awesome. Anything else you'd like to share in terms of business acumen, you know, coming in, overcoming adversities, or anything at all?
I mean, I think, listen, this was never a part of my plan. I mean, this insurance thing, right? When I started, so before I sold insurance, I managed call centers. And I did that for like 20 years, right? And I really believed that that's what I was that's what I was going to retire doing. But then life happened. I got separated from my ex-husband. And the reason that I got into insurance is because I wanted to make an extra $1,000 a month part-time. Like that was for most people, an extra $1,000 a month is a game changer, right? So that was my only reason for getting into insurance. But you know what I'm saying, God has bigger and better plans, obviously. So 10 years later, here I am, senior vice president of an insurance company where, you know what I'm saying, and I have like a couple hundred agents in my agency, right? And this was never a part of the plan, but it's not always our plan. Sometimes it's God's plan, right? Well, most it is God's plan every single time, right? So thank God he had a great plan for me, and I am where I am today because of, number one, because of God, and number two, because I have an amazing team behind me, and we're going to get to that 1,000 families a month help this year. By the summertime we're going to get there. So I'm excited about where we're going.
Well, I'm excited for you guys. And seriously, Callie, thanks for just coming into this business and just being the strong woman that can just lead by example, whether you're like, I don't care if you're a guy, girl, you know, you're 16 or you're 65, I can help you, you know, like hop on the team, like let's do this thing. No doubt you and your group are going to be helping over 1,000 families a month. I can't thank you enough for being on this call with me today. I know it can add a ton of value to people out there. We're going to drop your Instagram handle right here. So if you want to reach out to Kylie, you can always reach out to her. But just to kind of log out, please like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Take care, guys.
Thank you.